Welcome into CBS Sports HQ. When Davante Adams went to the Las Vegas Raiders, joining his former collegiate quarterback Derek Carr, we thought big things were in store as he looked to continue his career and vault the Raiders back into the title-winning conversation. Those days appear to be coming to a close. Carr is now gone, of course, enjoying success in New Orleans. And now Davante wants out. But the question is, where is he going to go? A number of teams are vying for his services. Saints, Ravens, Jets have all been mentioned. You also have the Steelers in there potentially, Cowboys, 49ers, and then the Buffalo Bills. All right, so let's bring in our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, for more on this situation as it continues to evolve. JJ, what are your sources telling you about the timing of a trade and potential landing spots?
So let's start with landing spots first, because there's been a lot of teams that have been rumored out there. There's a very clear hierarchy here, Jeremy. And number one is the New York Jets as it stands right now. Number two would be the New Orleans Saints. Number three would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then there's a group of other teams, right? Could the Buffalo Bills make it work? Or, could the Baltimore Ravens make it work? The Dallas Cowboys aren't going to make it work. The Kansas City Chiefs, they could wish upon a star that they could get Davante Adams. The Raiders would never trade Davante Adams to Kansas City, the AFC West rival. And so really, when you talk about landing spots, you have to start with the Jets, a place that Davante, according to my sources, has been leaning toward all week. But he could be talked out of it. He could learn some things. He could change his opinion. Also, the Jets could potentially screw it up. And so then it starts to open up again to maybe the New Orleans Saints with his old college teammate and Raider teammate, Derek Carr, with his wide receiver coach from when he was a teenager, Keith Williams, who's now with the Saints as their wide receivers coach. And then, of course, there's always the Pittsburgh Steelers, helmed by Mike Tomlin, in need of another wide receiver. They were in the Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes, 2 months ago. And so there's no reason to believe they would not be in the sweepstakes for Davante Adams at 31, now going on 32 years old. The time question is a great question, and it's one that we can't really answer. I can tell you this past week, no one was in a rush to get anything done. Things are absolutely going to heat up after this weekend's games. Could something get done next week? Absolutely. The Raiders want a second-round pick. Whether they get one or not, to be determined. If someone does offer that up, I could see this deal getting done next week. But surely and certainly, it is my opinion and the opinion of many sources around the league that I have spoken with, Davante Adams has absolutely played his last snap as a Las Vegas Raider. The next snap he plays will be with another team, and it will certainly be before the trade deadline next month.
He's out with a hamstring injury, certainly at least for this week. And as you mentioned, that could be it for him in terms of the black and silver there. JJ, you mentioned the asking price, that second-round pick. How are GMs around the league responding to that asking price? What have you heard about that?
Yeah, it's high. And look, if the Raiders had dealt him at the trade deadline last year, they would have gotten a second-round pick and then some for Davante Adams. But Mark Davis, the owner of the team, said, oh, no, we are not dealing Davante Adams. That, of course, in hindsight, was a mistake. It is a mistake. And so now the Raiders are hoping that they can get a 2 for Adams. The only way that they're going to be able to get a second-round pick, Jeremy, for Davante Adams, again, at 31, going on 32 years old, in what is essentially the final year of his deal, because the next 2 years are non-guaranteed contracts with, $35 million, so he's not going to play on that anywhere. The only way that they can do it is if the Raiders pay down most of his salary for 2024. Right now, he's owed about $13.5 million. With each week, there's a game check of, let's call it $1 million for ease and round numbers. And so with each passing week, it goes down $1 million until the week of the trade deadline, when it would be about $8.5 million. And so a lot of teams don't just have that lying around in terms of cap space once you get into the season. The Jets do. However, they only have it because Hassan Reddick has not shown up to the team facilities, and so he only counts $750,000 against their cap. If, let's say, in this world that that Hassan Reddick shows up to the Jets next week, then he starts to count $9-10 million against the salary cap, and now you don't have the money to fit in Davante Adams. The Saints never have the money to fit any player under the salary cap, yet somehow they always figure it out. And so the Raiders are very, very likely going to have to pay down a lot of this salary. And Davante Adams is not going to have any problem with that because in the great state of Nevada, there are not state income taxes. So the more money that he can be paid in Las Vegas versus, I don't know, a team that is based in Foreign Park, New Jersey, the better.
And JJ, you mentioned the fact that, the timeline is perhaps a little bit fluid here depending on who wants to meet this asking price. But, I mean, we're 4 games into the season. The Raiders at 2-2. This particular situation developing now, what does it tell you about the state of this Raiders franchise as we sit here today?
It's not great, and it seems like that there's not a great deal of alignment from top down. And so when that happens, it's really, really hard to be successful on the football field. Can you go out there and win a couple games and steal a few games? There's no doubt about it. But can you be a perennial contender when there is not alignment from ownership to general manager to head coach? No, you cannot. And I think we have seen some of those cracks already early in this season. Again, you noted they're 2-2, but it doesn't feel like a 2-2 team, does it, Jeremy, with all of the drama around it? And this is also coming off, you see it right there, an upset against the Browns. That was a home game. They should be feeling good right now after that disappointing loss to the Carolina Panthers. And, again, a win against the Ravens. All of these things, they should be feeling good. They're not. And so because of that, you have this misalignment. We talked just a little bit ago about the deal that the Raiders probably should have taken for Davante Adams around this time last year that they did not. And so now you have a disgruntled 3-time All-Pro wide receiver who can essentially choose his spot because of his contract situation and his reputation around the league. And you're going to have to listen to him and get as best you can for him. And if it were another circumstance, if he had another real year on his contract, maybe you could get a second-round pick and everything would be fine. But because of the situation and circumstances you find yourself in right now, the best they can hope for is a second-round pick if they are willing to spend several millions of dollars to more or less buy that pick.
And certainly a great point there, JJ, the fact there should be a positive feeling around this team coming off that win last week. But the vibes, right? The kids say the vibes just aren't right now. And we'll see how things go with Davante Adams. Our lead NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, giving us the latest on a potential trade as he looks to get out of Las Vegas. Raiders not part of our coverage this coming Sunday, but our 1 p.m. Eastern window does have some good games for you, including the Ravens at the Bengals. Ravens maybe a potential trade target for Davante Adams, and then the late slate, Packers at the Rams, Giants at Seahawks. Check it out on CBS, streaming on Paramount+.